Hello! Welcome to another episode of Mega Manga Monday. I am Jason Hahn, and today we are talking about Jujutsu Kaisen. The latest chapter is 191, and we're in a new colony, Sakurajima Colony Part 1. I'm Jason Hahn, and I'm a writer for Screen Rant. I happen to write a lot of video game news related stuff, but I'm a huge manga fan. So we decided to start the Mega Manga Mondays podcast to talk about series we love. And today I've got a couple other buddies who are also Jujutsu Kaisen fans who also happen to write for Screen Rant. But I'll go ahead and let them introduce themselves. Ben, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. I'm Ben. I've been with Screen Rant for about half a year as a comics writer. So I write about manga. I write about, DC Marvel stuff. And JJK is one of my favorite currently running series in Jump. So I'm hyped to discuss the new chapters, especially because a fan favorite character has come back. And by fan, I mean
Woo!
me.
And me.
Yeah.
And me.
I'm very excited about this character returning, and actually, it's kind of a reason we haven't recorded a podcast for JJK in a little while, is I was just starting to really not feel the Hikari fight, and it was just like, we need more to talk about, so we waited a little bit, and there's lots to talk about. The arc is getting a lot of fun again. Right, Steven?
Oh, right. My name is Steven, and I have been writing for Screen Rant for a bit now, mostly writing about manga, Shonen Jump titles, but also other ones like Sonic. And I just got to say, as a manga fan, we are all very spoiled since, we get a lot of our favorite series on a weekly basis. And for us Sonic fans, we have to wait monthly, which is quite a killer for a lot of us. So it's good to be a manga fan, too.
Yeah, I subscribe to some new Twitter things that highlight a lot of the crazy stuff that happens in the Sonic comics. And,
I saw you commenting on a few things. The early stuff was so out of this world. It's like, what is happening right now?
Well, yeah, I didn't even know that Sonic continued to have a comic series until I started talking to you, and we might have to do a breakdown sometime. I think that'd be a lot of fun to hear from somebody who knows a lot more about Sonic lore. But we're not talking about Sonic today. Check that out on another podcast. Jujutsu Kaisen picked up after the Hikari fight, which finally ended a couple chapters. Well, actually, it was 190. It was literally one chapter ago. We got an update that Panda is fine. He's maybe a little bit shorter and more adorable, but he regenerated very quickly, very effectively, I might add. And Kashimo and Hikari are on a mutual understanding now. They're no longer fighting, and we got the reveal that Kashimo wasn't even using their curse technique, and they're waiting to fight Sukuna to be able to use that. So that was something I think we called in a previous discussion. We're just like, oh man, it'd be cool if Kishimo used domain expansion or something. But he might be saving it for the final thing. We called it. Actually, I'm not sure if we called it or we have an exclusive guest on our podcast who is an editor or an assistant for Gege on JJK.
But we didn't call it too. I'm totally not an assistant. We didn't get all aspects of it. Like the one-time use thing. Mm-hmm. We didn't pick up on. So, no, I'm totally not an editor. No.
Or he's withholding just enough information so he can't get caught. So,
but then again, Ben has been bringing up things that it's like this will happen, and then it does happen. So it's like I don't know.
Yeah. It's still up in the air. But,
I got to sprinkle in some wrong stuff fast in this discussion.
Gojo's next.
I can't believe next chapter Nadia just kills Maki. Like that was crazy.
Oh Jesus.
So that name drop, that's the favorite character. A lot of us were very excited to see return.
Nadia?
Oh no, Maki. I actually had to
Yeah.
re-look up these characters that have been introduced. Because there's been so many characters in Jujutsu Kaisen that I didn't remember who the guy that's fighting with Maki was, or the gross worm creature that showed up at the end of the newest or the end of the
Oh,
chapters.
really?
Um,
Oh, because
but now I do.
well,
um,
I gotta say, like after I'm just excited to talk about it.
yeah.
Like after reading this chapter, I immediately jumped back to the arc. Is like in the late 140s, where the whole arc where Maki goes stands up against the Zenin clan, and just to relive it, and I forgot how much of a jerk Naoya was or
Mhm.
is, and it just like really makes it come full circle. Like this whole battle, this whole confrontation, just because of like he just espoused like the worst of the Zenin clan, of like everything that they thought about Maki. Just calling her disgusting because she had no technique, things like that. Like he was just a completely awful character, and it really made you invested in their relationship. And now that he's back as a cursed spirit, it is incredible, and I'm really glad that that story is coming full circle now.
Yeah, it's almost like well, we haven't gotten the details yet on how he's transformed into this because the last we saw him, to kind of get our listeners up on it, a gross worm cursed spirit has showed up, and it's fast and powerful. And at the end of this newest chapter, 191, we get the name drop that it is the youngest sibling of the Zenin clan, who Maki had a great fight with at
Yeah.
the end of her revival arc, I guess we could call it. He was the last one that she had to fight. He's like the youngest of the clan, and he's wanted to be the head of their family for so long. But yeah,
He was also the head of the Heki. I forgot. I think it was called the Heki. The strongest, like
like
in the Zen
they're
clan, were like the most powerful jujitsu warriors, and he's the top one.
right.
Yeah.
But
So it's like he espoused everything that she wasn't. Sorry.
yeah, exactly. Well, and that's the thing is, unlike a lot of the villains in this series, like I'd say Mahito and Geto, he just has never been given a trait like or a chance to be likable. He's just always despicable, evil, a jerk. So it was really nice to see Maki put him down, but it's opening up a whole nother revenue of storytelling here by seeing him, further cast his humanity away to essentially get a big old rematch. So it'll be cool to see. Of course, I mean, I'm just happy to see Maki at all. But it'll be really cool to watch these two monsters clash eventually. Because we definitely got a hint that he is going to be a challenge. But then again, Maki is a monster. I mean, in the next chapter, she could just grab him and put a knee through him. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, the other guy that's with her was at the very beginning of the chapter. And it kind of was what caused me confusion. I was like, is this guy in the beginning of the chapter the worm guy? But no, he was on the same side with like Toto, and he fought Megami back in the arc where, oh boy, names, where they had to fight Haname, I think was the cursed spirit's name, but it was like the last arc of the anime that adapted.
The flower curse spirit.
Yeah. And yeah, so this guy hasn't gotten a lot of prominent time, and he has a haircut now. So I had to look it up to see who this guy was, and he was about as strong as Megumi back then. So he should be pretty helpful.
But and it's also pretty cool too that he's he's only he's a quote unquote semi grade 1 sorcerer. Like he was he's only that way because he had some, I forgot what it was, but something is augmenting his powers as well. Which is kind
I think it was like his family's support. right? Wasn't it something like that?
Well, according to the wiki that I recently read, so that I know who this guy is, he was like a bastard child, and the whole reason he wanted to be a sorcerer was to help people because his mom believed that he would be able to help people with his abilities, which is why he kind of decided to help Yuji and everybody else because he met Yuji and realized that they are both sorcerers for the same reason, to try to help people. I'm curious to see more of him in action because I feel like we haven't really gotten a lot of time with him yet. But yeah, he's supposed to use like blood manipulation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think his whole goal is to like become a good sorcerer so he can meet back up with his mom. I think I don't remember what happened to her, but
I don't remember exactly.
yeah,
I mainly remember his fight with Megumi and just being the leader of the Kyoto gang. But yeah, I'm glad he's back, and I do think it's very interesting that we're getting to see a bit more of him and learn about a new side of him, which is that he has a very good understanding of the politics of the sorcery world.
Mm-hmm.
And that might not matter anymore because apparently Ghetto's just taken over the upper echelons of sorcerers. But it is interesting to see. It just feels like it feels like a shame that that aspect has been removed from the series now a bit.
Oh man, I would almost argue because the first half of this chapter was just dumping all of these family names and all that stuff, and I was just like, I don't remember most of this. This is a problem.
I mean, maybe that's why they're getting rid of that aspect of the series because it's tough to keep track of all the family names and things like that.
Well, I mean, like at least, I mean, we know that there are like the three main families. Like there was the Gojos, then there was the Zenin, and then the Kamo family, which is where this guy's from. Mm-hmm. So I think they're trying to like bring that back, that he's like the heir to this very important, prominent family that's like on the same level as the Zenin, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot like I remember when I was reading Naruto back in the day when it would like start introducing the other villages and the politics behind the villages. When I was reading it, I was just like, oh man, this is a lot. I don't know if I'm going to remember all this. But now that it finished up and I've had so much time to think about it and rewatch and stuff, I want more of that. Now I want to know all the politics of the ninja world, and I'm curious if Jujutsu Kaisen will do the same thing. Me and Steven were kind of talking about this arc a little bit through some Discord chat, and it might be one of those things where, especially with the last Akari fight, you're reading it week to week, and you're just like, man, I need this to end. I need to move on. Makes me think that once it's all said and done, or at least the arc even, if you go back and read it, it might be a little bit more enjoyable because you can read it at your own pace. And that's what I'm saying about the Naruto too. Like after it's all said and done, if you go back, you're like, oh man, now I know who they're talking about, how this all relates, and what is important and what I don't need to remember, because we'll get the moment where all the setup benefits the story. Hopefully.
What I'm hoping for, because like I'm in the same boat as you guys, because like I know that a lot of manga, like Naruto too, like you mentioned, like usually when they do like a bunch of name dumps, like in this particular chapter, it's supposed to confuse you, but then in later chapters they start, like, since you've been exposed to it much more, then it becomes much more, easily, like you can more easily digest it. And I feel like that's why this chapter started this way. It's like why they did this name dump is because all of these things are going to become really important later on. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's supposed to be really confusing because it's all these politics and stuff. But it really made me feel good that they did that, because it hints that we will be getting more of these politics later on. At least that's what I'm hoping for. At least
I feel like I feel like the politics have ended now. because Geto controls all the politics now. He's basically, he's taken over the conservative aspect of the sorcerer government and has like eliminated all the detractors, and so he's basically got complete control over the government now.
Well, not only control.
sorcery,
I mean, he's literally. I don't know if this was 100%. Well, it was probably part of his plan, but it is illegal to unseal Gojo.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah. Well, it was illegal beforehand to unseal Gojo, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they mentioned it in earlier chapters, but I just kind of glossed over it. But yeah, this is like probably the second or third time they've mentioned it. It's like, wow, I guess this really is official.
It's it's like that meme of I am a big fan of a lot of sketch comedy shows, and there's this one sketch where they're all like dressed up as Nazis, and one of them like looks at each other and is like, "Wait,
are we the bad guys?
Are we the bad guys?
Oh, yes, British guys. Are we the baddies?
Yeah.
I think we're the baddies. Yeah.
And it's like as soon as they enact the law of like don't let Gojo out, you're like, wait, are we the bad guys?
Well, it makes perfect sense that they do that because Gojo has been fighting against the more conservative aspects of the sorcery government for like his entire time being there. So they're like, yeah, one problem solved. We got this Geto guy running around, but we'll put out an order for his execution. And now that order has been stayed apparently because Geto took control. So he's like, yeah, let's just scrub that from the records.
That'd be funny if they caught him. He's like, actually, I'm not Geto. My name is Kenjaku. And they're like, oh, all right, well, we can't try you now. So that's just how how the law works.
Darn loopholes.
But I am really excited, though, that I don't even remember the guy he was talking to, Kenjaku. Like, he lets him live just because because Kenjaku thinks that this guy won't be much of a threat to him. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping that will probably lead to a whole uprising, which will add to this whole, like, we'll have the Culling game thing, and then we'll also have this uprising against them to try and reinstate these families. So that's what I'm hoping for, at least.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't set it up.
I honestly, I don't know. I honestly actually disagree.
Oh.
I feel like the whole beginning of this chapter was basically purely pragmatic, right? Just to introduce the stuff with Geto, to eliminate that aspect from the story going forward, and then we needed some way to tie this back into what's going on now. So we had, Noritoshi go and see Geto, to be the vessel to bring it into, like, what's going on currently. And, of course, because he's with us now currently, Geto was just like, oh, yeah, I'll let you live. So that way we could actually get him to this colony with Maki. So...
But there must be more. Like, just letting him live is like, that's usually like one of those downfalls in these type of like revenge mangas. Like, you let the person live because they won't be a threat, and then crap, they became amazing.
It's always arrogance that defeats most shonen bad guys, and I'm on Steven's side here. I think they would have definitely have set this up to either he's going to make some sort of sacrifice to save Maki and trigger eventually the downfall of Kenjaku. But yeah, I think that's the reason that they set that up that way. Otherwise, it was just like a refresh of politics and the stuff that we haven't had to think about for a long time. And also, we don't really have a time frame. What it was. Yeah, you think it was just a refresh?
Or like tying up loose ends.
Basically.
Yeah,
tying up loose ends. Yeah, because I don't think Noritoshi is a big enough character to like shoulder that sort of responsibility in the story, right? Mm-hmm. I could see him sacrificing himself to save Maki because I think he's gonna die in this colony. I think his purpose has been served. But yeah, I don't think he's going to actually be the one to show up to Geto and be like, you shouldn't have left me alive. I don't think he's that big of a character.
Right. Yeah, I don't think that he's going to be
like he'll be used as a vessel. Like he will put his his transgressions or all the things that he wants, his angst, on someone else's shoulders to save everything. Like, I don't know if he's gonna do it, but like he would be the person that would pass on his anger so that that more powerful person could help fulfill what he wants. But again, all conjecture.
Yeah, but I mean, if that's the case too, like everyone's already got it out for Ghetto, right?
Mhm.
It's not like there's much more significance to him being like, you know, get revenge on Ghetto for me, because everyone's trying to, you know, kill Ghetto anyways.
Right.
So
That is
like,
true. That is true.
so yeah, so I view this as just being purely pragmatic. I could be wrong, and
I would be
it
so
might.
mad though, because like because like I was going through it and rereading it a lot to kind of understand. It's like if I put in all this extra effort to understand what they're talking about, and it's gonna be nothing. What the heck, gay? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think if we go to, of course everybody wants to take out Ghetto Kenjaku right now, but if you just think about who would be the most epic person to be able to punch Ghetto in the face, and I'm gonna go with Maki. Like, as far as the worm dude that's currently attacking, of course, Naoya.
Naoya.
Of course, they have, you know, family beef and a rematch and all that stuff, but Ghetto and Kenjaku's whole thing is human beings are trash, especially if they can't do jujutsu. And just now, Maki is not the weakling that he made fun of her for being so much. So I think Maki's definitely the one that's got to get out of this. If we do get into a situation where she's pinned or something, I too think that the other guy is going to be the one to die, because I don't think I've ever talked to anybody about Jujutsu Kaisen and they're like, oh yeah, I gotta even remember his name. Noritoshi is my favorite character. Oh boy, if he dies, I'm gonna be so upset. like he, exactly what Ben said, is like he's not an important enough character to, you know, spend a lot more time with, but I think the whole reason he's here and the whole reason that we got Ghetto saying, oh no, I'm not going to kill you because you're not important enough. You know, that's kind of the Chekhov's gun sort of thing, where it's just like, all right, we got to prove that he's important enough. And I think we're going to get to a situation where he has to prove that. And God, I just want Maki to punch Ghetto in the face. So I
want to see this. I'm glad you brought that up again, because it gives me an excuse to bring in Blue Exorcist. Anyway, no, like what I'm actually like, what I really liked originally, and what I'm hoping Gojo will come back soon. Because I want like the Gojo and Kenjaku to face again, just because he's in the body of, you know, Ghetto, and they have this strong background, and it was like this kind of like really messed up type of thing where like he didn't want to battle him to begin with and was forced to kill him, and now being put in that situation again would be intense, because it's also happening without giving too much away, like in the later chapters of Blue Exorcist, which is still going, by the way, people. It's ongoing. You should start reading it. No, like there's that same dynamic is going on in one of the battles right now. Like one of the main characters is going to be facing a big bad who is in the body of someone they care about, and that is always a really messed up dynamic, because you know you have to destroy them, but they are in the body of someone else that you really care about, and that ups the stakes a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm excited that could happen again with Ghetto and or Kenjaku and Gojo once he gets unsealed. Like you're saying, you want Maki to do it. I want another rematch between Kenjaku and Gojo.
Yeah, and I agree with Steven. I think that would be very, very satisfying because that's, you know, the ultimate goal is to kill Kenjaku, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the short-term goal now is to free Gojo. So I do think it would be great to have the payoff to freeing Gojo be a showdown between Gojo and Kenjaku, especially because the last thing that happened before Gojo got sealed was seeing Kenjaku in Geto's body.
Yeah.
And that's what caused him to get sealed, because he flashback through his memories, and it was however much time in his perspective. So I feel
I think well, go ahead and finish that, Ben. I thought you were
I just feel like it would feel very good to see Gojo, get revenge for that, get revenge for his friend Geto, who he initially killed,
Well,
which was already painful for him.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the issue there, is we don't know, like, we were shown off screen, like, Gojo killing Geto, but he failed to, like, get rid of his body. Like, we have yet to see how Kenjaku attained Geto's body. And I kind of feel like that's all been resolved already between Geto and Gojo. Especially after it was revealed that it's just like, actually, I'm just using your friend's meat puppet. This isn't even him or his brain anymore.
That's why I feel like it is unresolved, because
that
was the last thing that happened for Gojo, and then Gojo got locked away. So, and Gojo, he did kill his friend, but he still cares about him, right? Because it was painful. So I feel like
Nope, go.
You go ahead.
No. Like, it's just something I just remember, because a little while ago I'm rereading the Shibuya arc, and something, and I don't remember if they turned up again, but something that I completely forgot about was during the Shibuya arc, when we first see this new Geto or Kenjaku, he was being helped by two people who wanted Kenjaku to leave Geto's body because they were his followers. And
wasn't the two young girls?
Yeah, they're like, we're here to help. We're here to help you so that you can leave his body. And then he turns to them and he's like, yeah, you never did like a binding vow with me, so I don't have to do anything. So screw you. And then they ended up leaving. And I think that's the last time we've seen them. So that's someone else that could also get.
I thought they got killed.
Oh, they did?
I think either they both died or he killed one of them just for talking against him, and then the other.
Wasn't it? No, I thought Sukuna killed them.
Did they?
Because they were the ones that fed Yuji the fingers. That's right. Brought Sukuna out during Shibuya.
I forgot about that.
And then Sukuna was just like, "Oh, thanks for awakening me," and then killed them.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Both of them?
I'm pretty sure both of them. It's been a while since I've read it. But
it's been a while. I don't remember if it was both of them, or I almost have a memory of he just like exploded one, and then the other was just like, okay, I'll do whatever you want, or just.
And then I think he killed them too.
Maybe, yeah.
Because I remember being disappointed because I was. Yeah, because I was like, oh man, I'm excited for these two. They haven't really shown off their powers yet to a big extent, and they've got cool designs, so I'm excited to see what they do. And they didn't. I was disappointed when they got killed.
I think those were the two girls that Geto saved. Like, they were lined up for slavery, and that was one of like the last straws for him to be like, man, human beings are trash. And I think that was the breaking point for him, was he killed whoever was going to be selling them off, and he saved them. So absolutely makes sense, because I mean, they were with Geto before he got possessed, or whatever you want to call, by Kenjaku. So yeah, they didn't really have anything else to do with the story, I guess. But
that's a shame that they both got killed, because it's just like, because they have like we, as the reader, you're invested in their journey because they have a connection with the guy whose body Kenjaku is in, so it creates that whole dynamic, like the thing that Gojo is going through. Like, and it just adds this whole other level to everyone's relationship. So it would have been cool but I guess that's not the case. That's a shame. Oh,
I was very disappointed when they died, but I was It was also in the context of the Shibuya arc where everyone was dying.
Everyone was dying.
I was like, okay,
Yeah. Oh,
I wish they'd gotten to do something, but I guess it showed sort of it characterized Sukuna a bit more because Sukuna's just in it completely for himself. Where like these people are like, we helped you, and he's like, yeah, thank you. Like, I don't care, die.
Yeah. Which, speaking of kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, I think just thinking about like the most epic thing that could possibly happen. I believe that the Ghetto Gojo thing has been resolved because the last moment he saw was, yeah, that is not my friend. My friend is 100% gone and dead. That is just his meat puppet now. So I feel like that was the resolution of that. I almost feel like we've gotten so many other relationships that have been built up to go against Kenjaku. We've got Maki, and we have Yuji, who has been revealed to be Kenjaku's child. I think it'd be amazing if, a whole bunch of stuff's obviously going to happen before this happens, but Yuji, Maki, and probably Megumi somehow take out Kenjaku, and it possibly causes Sukuna to be fully awakened. And then that's when they awaken Gojo after they defeat Kenjaku, and then it turns into Gojo versus like a fully awakened Sukuna, because that was one thing that they teased or even I think set up at the very beginning of the series was Yuji is being introduced to the school and everything, and he's being explained like Sukuna is the king of curses, and then Yuji says, "Is Sukuna stronger than you are?" I think I'm still stronger, is what Gojo says. And again, the Chekhov gun writing technique, they placed that gun there. It's got to go off.
See, I feel like, I just feel, I read the moment where he saw Kenjaku and Geto's body completely opposite. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't, because...
Yeah, because that was how they trapped him. That was how they trapped him. They just needed to get his mind busy for it was like only a few seconds, but it was like minutes in his mind. Like minutes passing his mind in like 1 second. So it was like this whole massive thing, and that's how they were able to trap him. Because they're like, wait, we won't be able to trap him because we need minutes. Like all we have is a second. But Kenjaku was like, no, the minutes are passing in his mind. Yeah.
And the fact that it took minutes shows that he's not just like, oh yeah, it's not my friend anymore. I'm fine with this. Because if it was that level of acceptance, then he would have it wouldn't have taken minutes.
Oh, that's not the thing. Is I'm saying he's like just accepted. Well, I guess what I'm saying is that was the shock, but now he's been stuck in this infinite prison for a long time. But I think that shock is the last thing to happen of that. That was the resolution of that. Was him being shocked, and now, let's say Gojo gets Gojo gets released and then meets Kenjaku again. I don't really see any more like big meaningful resolutions between that relationship anymore.
I completely disagree, because now he's like, you're making a mockery of my friend, or like you're just completely. I don't know. I feel like he'd be very upset.
Oh, you went away for a second. Oh, you're back.
Oh wait. Okay. Yeah. I feel like he'd be very upset he looked very upset in the moment seeing that.
Oh, true.
So,
and I'm sure
I don't think that was just shock. And he's had all this time to reflect on it in the cube, and I don't think he's just gonna come out and be like, that relationship is done. I feel nothing towards Geto towards Kenjaku for doing this. I think he's going to be pissed when he comes out.
Oh, sure, he's going to be pissed, but I guess my point is he's not going to have any words for Kenjaku. I think
he will have.
I think he'll just be like, I need to murder you. I have no more. We don't have any long talks left. I just need to destroy you as fast as possible because you are disservicing my friend's memory.
I just want to say one thing. No, just so
There
like
you go.
because we're like, what's so amazing is that we're talking about all this and there's still Mojito we have to deal with. Okay, continue.
I
Wait,
hope he
do we
comes
have to deal
back.
with Mojito?
I hope he comes
I thought
back.
Mojito.
Well, it's just so cool. Like we have like this big bad right now that we're all like all of this stuff is like pivotal on him. But then there's also Sakuna, and then there's also Mojito. It's like
Is
it's
there
very well
Mojito
done.
though?
Like we have all these big bads, and we're only 190 chapters in. Like that's kind of a lot. But at the same time, we have like all these big bads that we're all highly invested in. I just wanted to.
But I thought Mojito was out of the picture now.
Oh, I mean, he'll come back later.
I
I
disagree.
I too think and hope he will come back. But
Oh,
I
he
think
can't be
it's
gone.
I,
Like, oh no, I would
I
no.
think he's gone.
No.
I mean, then again, it could be like a sort of Nobara thing where like
I was just
he
gonna say
hasn't
that.
confirmed that he's dead, so you know he might come back. Come on, Gege, bring him back.
Yeah, it's more of just
Um,
we haven't gotten the 100% confirmation that they're gone. Same thing with Nobara.
Well, he's the one I care about the most too, like of the villains. So it would be kind of a shame if like Sukuna's cool and all, but it's like I don't know. I'm more invested in his character, and it would be a shame if yeah, if he's just gone because
yeah,
I feel like all this is good, but it's all building up for him to come back. Like that's how I've been viewing all of this.
see, I feel like yeah, Mojito could definitely come back, but I feel like Mojito's arc kind of ended because Mojito achieved their perfect form, right? They achieved their like peak level of being at the end of Shibuya,
I don't know. We can say the same thing
then it
about
was
Noya.
Naoya.
Yeah, bringing it back to this
I
chapter.
I don't think that Naoya didn't have unfinished business left because Naoya, his entire clan was wiped out by Maki, and then he
Oh,
was
but
killed
he
by
hated
Maki.
Maki. Like he
He
had this,
hated
like
Maki too.
he had
Yeah.
this whole bigoted view of her, and because like she had no power, and now he gets his big chance to complete. Because like she's even less power, and she's just all physical now,
Yeah.
and it's like he is like she's everything that he despises. Like, and then the fact that he also that she defeated him. Now this is his chance to like. That's why it's like coming full circle. That's why this whole confrontation is so amazing. Is because his hate
yeah.
for her was so intense. Like because I like went back to it like to read it after this, and it was just you could just feel the hatred like just oozing out of him in those chapters before his defeat. Like it was pretty gross. So
Well, she left him to die essentially. Like she didn't
yeah,
finish
she
him
did.
off,
Yeah,
and he was
yeah.
talking about like I was just I reread up on the wiki because I couldn't 100% remember which character was which on this. I know I'm a bad shonen reader, but it's one of those things where he was saying like only women deserve to be like stabbed in the back or something along those lines, and then he gets stabbed in the
He gets
back
stabbed in the back. Yeah,
by Maki's
By
mother,
his,
I
yeah.
think.
yeah.
Which is just for me that like comes full circle. Like that was a good resolution for all the beef that they've built up, and this is taking it a step further of saying like, okay, we're getting that super powered rematch.
I agree that it was a good resolution in terms of just like plot, and if that had been the end of him, I would have been fine with it because
Right.
the whole point of that was wiping out the Zenin clan, and he was a despicable villain. So even if he wouldn't be happy with that ending, we can be happy with that ending.
Yeah.
But in terms of the character themselves, like Naoya definitely has unfinished business here.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Oh, true.
Naoya like definitely has things that he wants to do. He wants to kill Maki because out of revenge for his clan and revenge for his own death. And so seeing him pop up again is like exciting because
Oh yeah.
both sides of this fight
God,
have
it's-
a lot like it's personal again.
Oh man, it's just
and
you're making me realize too. It's just like this. What's going on right now is the exact opposite of what the last fight was for us, and that's why I feel like we're having such a hard time with that last fight. Where like,
Yeah.
all right, Hikari's kind of a new character, and now we're going against this other new character, and we're just kind of finding out both of their powers. We're not super invested in it, and Again, I think I'll enjoy the Hikari fight a lot more on a reread, because just reading that week to week, I was just like, oh god, I'm so excited for characters I care about to enter the fray again.
So something I will say is I do actually think the Hikari fight might have bearing on how this fight goes. And the reason I bring that up is because we haven't talked about how the Hikari fight ended. Really, we've mentioned it in passing, but like the fact that Hikari now cannot use his domain expansion is very good for the final arc, because we discussed when it was going on that, like, we thought Hikari was going to die because his power was just too broken to be used in the future, and it was too complex to be used in the future repeatedly, and it would make fights just seem not really that good because it's kind of samey and it's drawn out. So like it would have a negative impact on the final arc if he was left to do it. And I really liked the way that they resolved it, where they got rid of his insanely powerful ability while leaving him around potentially to do stuff later. And I do think he's gonna play a role in the final arc, but he won't be able to use his broken power. Maki is a character who, she's been in the series longer, and she has a much cooler fighting style, but her ability is also extremely broken. She can just she can just kill anything, basically. It's how she's set up, right? Like, she's easily the most powerful character still running around for the good team so far, right, at this current point.
Oh yeah, I mean, she's definitely one of the more powerful good guys. I feel like we've been shown that this type of character can be defeated, with Gojo destroying Megami's dad, the last guy who had these sort of boosted powers. Bad with names.
Yeah, but Gojo was also so broken that
sure.
They had to seal him away for the rest. Like, characters on this level of fighting can be detrimental to stakes, to having stakes be high. So I could see this part of the culling game potentially hampering an aspect of Maki's abilities or fighting style or something. Like, maybe she loses a limb as well or something like that.
See, I don't know, because the way I look at her is, even if she is completely overpowered, it's just that everything about her and her new power is completely tragic, and that is what will trump everything. Like, even if she is becomes this unstoppable force, she had that whole tragedy before that we didn't have with Hikari, which made Hikari so annoying because he didn't really have anything. He was just I want to fight and kill, and I have this awesome ability. So then when he loses it, it was awesome because it's he's not going to be an overly powerful OP kind of guy. But then we have Maki, who is very similar, except everything about her and why she is powerful is just so sad and tragic that it doesn't even it's almost fine that she's this powerful, because everything that she destroys, she's able to destroy because of her sister's sacrifice.
And that just deserves
it all the more tragic. Yeah,
it's
one of those things. Even if you want her, it's just even though even if she wins with it, it's the fact that I only won because my sister sacrificed herself for me. So there's still that sadness that even she's using what her sister gave her to be able to overcome anything, but at the same time she's only that way because her sister sacrificed. So it's this double-edged sword that kind of just trumps all of the crazy stuff she can do now. At least for me, I just view everything about her as tragic.
I understand that to an extent, but the issue that I'm seeing is that even if we like Maki a lot more and her overpoweredness is a lot more justified to us, if she's with the final good guy group in the final arc and they're encountering threats and Maki just kills all the threats going forward, then it's the other characters don't get a chance to really do anything. And maybe this arc, instead of hampering her abilities, is showing that super powerful curses and stuff can still give her issue. And that would also be acceptable because it would mean that we could have her fight like a certain curse for a time in the final arc. And because this was set up here, that like she doesn't just like instantly kill everyone she fights.
Oh yeah, it could be boring.
Then that could also, yeah. So, this arc is definitely it's being used, I think, to set up like how Maki is going to operate in the final fight, and whether that's setting up that like there are threats out there that she can have a difficult time with, that she can't just insta kill, or setting up like, or giving her some like injury or some way to prevent her from using her full ability that we've seen, just to make it so that other characters also have a chance to shine in the final arc.
Yeah, I think that's something that's going to get resolved with time, because it's just, I mean, everything we've seen her against so far, she just wipes the floor with it. Especially you bring up that she's going to have some stuff to do in the final fight. I think between now and then we're going to see more of her weaknesses or something like that, because you're absolutely right. When you have a character like this, like Gojo, that's just so powerful that it almost makes it uninteresting. Well, that's what we've encountered so far, but I think we're about to get a fight that she's going to have to struggle through, or this isn't going to be interesting at all. You kind of get into the whole parody idea of One Punch Man, where it's just like, okay, well, what if they're so powerful that they just take them out with one punch and there's no suspense, there's no anything like that? So, I mean, I think, especially with this fight, we're going to get stuff that's going to build that up to kind of show that Maki isn't One Punch Man or Gojo. So I think that's something that, with more time with her, we'll be getting that. But I'm thinking by the time we get to final arc, if she's still around, hopefully she's still around, everybody else is also getting more powerful at this point. Like with Yuji, he keeps on getting more powerful, as well as Sukuna, obviously. Megumi has some stuff up his sleeve that we've teased that he could be getting more powerful too. And I think by the point that we get to that, to the final arc and stuff, everyone is going to be able to fight in the same realm as Maki. I think. Like, so but I agree with you. I think if she is way too overpowered, it will be uninteresting, which I think that this current fight is going to fix. I see for the case of pacing. This should be an interesting time, but I'm just so excited to have her back.
Yeah, no, I'm hyped to have her back, no matter what happens this fight.
I actually think that, and I'm just going back to my earlier thing, is that she might actually be able to defeat him easily. It's just that she will still be haunted by their past, confrontation. Like that's just how I'm seeing her character going forward. Mm-hmm. Is that she's going to be one of these like completely overpowered characters, but she has that flaw of that she just has so much she's carrying, and that because she has been stated that she's an outright monster now, is that's going to be her downfall. That's just the way I'm viewing it. Like she'll just I don't know if she's going to be like have any flaws in this fight, or like strength wise, but that's just how I view her character.
So I would actually be very disappointed with that, and part of it would be just because of how women characters are treated in shonen manga in general, where like oftentimes they'll be on the sidelines of a fight because they're overcome with their emotions.
That is true.
And I feel like, I mean, Maki's a very different character. I don't think. Yeah. I think if some, like what you're saying, manifested, it wouldn't manifest with like her being in a fight and then flashing back and being like, oh, but my family and all that stuff, and then just stopping the fight. But like, it would be done a bit better because Gege is himself to be a better author than that. Oh yeah. But I feel like,
and he has talented assistants too.
Oh yeah, of course. Not me, totally. But But I just feel like that would be it would be kind of I'd be disappointed in things if that was how they turned out with Maki.
Yeah, I too
Um,
would be disappointed and surprised if that's what we did, because even before Maki got her power up, she was still that, like, screw my family sucks, my younger sister's okay, but she still tries to kill me every once in a while. Um, and I feel like anytime if she's going to be doubting it, she honestly, everything we know about her personality, she would just look at what her sister sacrificed and be like, I can't let my sister down. That was the only person in my family that did anything for me, that trusted me. Um, and also, if Naoa, the person we're fighting, does hurt her, it would kind of be a point in his line of thinking of, I'm better than you, I'm so much better than you. Like, they've built this character to be so
well,
despicable that it would kind of go against, I feel like, the whole
Well, that's the thing.
rivalry that these two have.
uh,
Well, that's why he has to
I
completely That's why she has to completely obliterate him without
oh,
like
I mean
it needs to be complete obliteration. Like I don't want it. Like I guess my whole point was I don't want this fight to be even close. Like I want him to be completely obliterated. That's
Yeah.
my whole thing. Like it's
oh,
just
I
like
completely
like I don't want
completely
I didn't want to
disagree.
like portray her as like being haunted. Like, I guess I was wording it incorrectly, but that is what powers her. Is her like just like I want to destroy all this stuff, and that's what makes her.
So
That just makes it where it's okay that she's OP. I guess I'm just not. I don't see that as a potential downside.
well, I feel like if she is, I mean, a couple things. One, I feel like if he does manage to hurt her long term, I don't think that would give credence to his philosophy, as long as he loses this fight. Which I mean, I think Naoya is definitely going to lose this fight. Um, and I think if he hurt her, then or like impacts her power in some way, that could also tie into the whole haunted by her family, because now she has a flaw in her powers, given to her by the shittiest person in her family, right? Uh, and it, I like.
I could see
I also
that.
think that,
You mean,
yeah, like I think that that would be a good way to tie this up, and I feel like this whole thing would be kind of anticlimactic, and Gege's done anticlimaxes in the past, so it is possible. If he's like he gets this really cool introduction at the end of the chapter, is returning, and then next chapter just she punches him in the face and he dies. Uh,
one punch.
yeah, basically. So, but yeah, that's just my opinion on it. I want Maki to feature in the calling game for as long as we can get her, and I feel like if she just one shots him, it'll be like, okay, on to the next colony.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm fine drawing out their fight a little bit. I would also be fine with Hikari and Kashima's. I was fine with Hikari and Kashima's fight as well. So.
Mm. True. Well, and that's kind of another thing. I'm going back to this latest chapter, just going through a couple panels to make sure I'm not forgetting something. But I mean, this version of Noya that we're fighting, I mean, he was, as we said earlier, one of the more powerful in her family. Like, he was the leader of their assassin group and stuff like that. And even in this chapter, we get like him in the sky, and then suddenly just like a flash of light. Like, I love the panels where it shows like the train tracks in the building, and then suddenly just a little bam, and then the next page is just the whole area just like exploding from how fast he attacked Maki. So I think it's really cool just getting to see, like, okay, we had this douchebag character turn to the dark side fully, and now he is a force to be reckoned with. But so is Maki. So I could see the fight going either way. I do like. I'm hoping that it does make a lot of sense that if he does do some lasting damage to Maki, it would just be further that stain of what the crappy version of that family has given her. But I'd be satisfied either way. I definitely don't see him winning this fight, but
You know what I think is funny though? While you guys are talking, just like just saying how like horrible this guy is. It's just, I'm going through the comments right now, and I just love how everyone just hates him so much. Like this one guy's like, "Speedster Worm is a weird mashup, but fitting for this scum," or "This piece of bird is still alive." Like
Yeah.
I just love all this, like all these comments, like, "Oh, this jerk is still here. Oh
Right.
man, let's kill." Like,
it's not like Mojito or Geto where you're like, oh, sweet, we get to see them again. It's just like, oh, no, not this jerk.
Oh, here we go. Creepy misogynist has reincarnated into a worm. Fitting.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Like
it's just everything about this fight is what I didn't like about the Hikari fight. Like I'm so back in it.
And what's also great too, like, is something that I wanted to mention too, because what you were saying, Jason, was absolutely right. The way that their battle ended before, like narratively, it was a complete, like, it was a perfect end to how it could have ended.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so great is that Gege has found a way to bring him back in a way that makes it acceptable, that we can all accept, but it will just add to the overall narrative journey of their relationship, which I just think is so amazing. Like, because you're saying it was a perfect ending, like how he died, how he left her. I mean, how she left him, and how he ended up getting stabbed in the back after saying all those horrible things. And that was a perfect end. But now we're seeing him come back, and it can even lead to an even better end, which I think is just absolutely awesome.
Well, to even go on those comments you were just reading, like, Gege is just like, okay, I've got this character that just no one liked, and how can we bring him back so he can continue to get beat up? I'm going to kill this unlikable character twice.
Yeah, which is absolutely amazing. Which is why, like, I'm hoping, like this, like, I don't want the next fight to just be a one punch out, he's dead, but I would just love to just see her rail on him for chapters and chapters. Like again, because like we all hate this guy. Like, I mean, that was the thing. Like, he was well written to the point that he was just so disgusting. That we're all just, kill him again.
Well, guys, any final thoughts on Jujutsu Kaisen before we go into plugs and recommendations?
We didn't talk about this guy at all this chapter because there were bigger things to talk about. But the old, like, retainer at the beginning of the chapter, going through, like, dementia or something, that's just a very sad character.
Yeah.
Like, just thrown in here, sort of. I'm not sure if we've ever seen him before. But... like, it's just very, dementia's a sad thing, and,
It kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I thought it was setting up one thing, and then after I read up on the names and knew who was talking to who and what was going on, I was like, okay, I still feel like it's just kind of randomly there, but I almost feel like it's a chess piece, but it being put down to be used later. Like, maybe because I don't really see another reason why they would introduce this character, this old guy. Because for a while I was just like, is this a flashback? It is technically a flashback because this guy gets a haircut. Noritoshi gets a haircut and all that. So we're not 100% sure when this conversation took place, but...
we actually do know exactly when it took place, November 3rd at 11:05 p.m.
Oh, well, thank you. And it was after Shibuya.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
Like, we do know the date, the time.
One of the few times where we actually know exactly when this happened. But yeah, it just seems so... I mean, even going back to Noritoshi, like, especially his part of the family, like, of all the politics that we've learned about Jujutsu Kaisen, we are very invested in the Zenin family's drama, and Maki just took them all out, or obviously invested into Gojo's family because of Gojo. The Saratois, I think is what his family name is. And then we have Noritoshi's family, who we don't really have a lot of investment or knowledge on. So maybe it was just a little bit more backstory for that side. I'm not sure. I wonder if it will pay off further later.
Yeah,
Well,
I think the only other, I think the only other combos that we've seen, I think the ponytail girl with like the ravens who was obsessed with money, I think she was a combo. I could be wrong.
Was it the girl on a broom? Was
No,
flying
not the
around?
the one who had like the little brother
Oh, right,
who
right,
also
right.
fought with her.
Oh,
Shibuya.
And
yeah.
yeah,
That,
and then
that
she
was
left the country.
I don't
Like,
know. My
yeah.
sister.
Yeah, I forget. I think they might have been Kamo. I think they were one of the major families.
Okay.
But yeah, the Kamos have just sort of been non-entities in the series so far. So
Well, I'm not sure. Did they die? Did they die
no,
in
they
Shibuya?
escaped.
Okay.
They escaped the country and was like, yeah, let's pull out all our investments in the Japanese stock market. Let's,
Business.
yeah, they basically got rich.
The end.
I mean, that's all she cares about, so.
Yeah. Just one other thing about this latest chapter that I really like too is after the end of Kenjaku and Noritoshi's conversation, Noritoshi's just like, "You have no place here. We'll never meet again." And then he gets into battle stance, and Kenjaku like, "What? Oh, ha 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 ha! Ha. No, not like that. You're not even a challenge." Like, we got that little bit of like playful ghetto again in this just a couple panels, and I really enjoyed that. But
I do want to say one last thing before we end. Like,
yeah.
I think it's great though that so the chapter started with all that convoluted political stuff, and then we get this character we haven't seen in a while. Noritoshi, who is from the Kamo family, and that's what's so great about this is introducing him in this battle where he could basically die because he is the heir to the head of that clan. So bringing him, I just think it's interesting that they start off with the politics in the beginning, and then they reintroduce this guy who's in a situation where he could die, and he is the heir of one of the biggest families in the Jujutsu universe. So I really feel like going forward, we're going to be seeing a flashback of him and his whole relationship with the Kamo clan, just because he is such a prominent and important figure to that family.
I thought we got a flashback of that in the school festival arc.
Oh, did we?
Well, and when I was reading up on
did.
who he was, because I forgot who he was, we got into like he's a bastard child, and his mother was like the one who still like supports him and stuff. But yeah, I think the rest of the clan was like not a big fan of him because he was a bastard. But it was something along the lines of like the lead lady of the clan wasn't able to bear children, so it was kind of one of those things where they're like not 100% proud of him, but they just kind of accept him. It's not like a Maki situation.
Yeah, I just think like we'll need some more from him because like there has to be a reason why he's here.
Oh yeah,
and I just think that it's really interesting. Like we have that convoluted political stuff where the Kamo family is mentioned, and now we have the heir to the Kamo clan in this fight to the death type of thing. It just I think that we're going to be seeing or hearing a lot more about the Kamo clan, just because like we were all saying, that's one of the clans that we don't really know anything about them that much. So I think it might be a perfect setup to bring more of that into the, bringing the politics back and everything. That's just me.
Well, yeah, as we said earlier, we could see him like dying in this fight, and that'd be the perfect time for us to get a little bit more flashback backstory, him laminating on his mistakes and his place and all that stuff. So I could see that happening. I think we'll definitely be getting more personal time with him, because otherwise there's no reason for him to be here, really.
He's just a red suit, like from Star Trek.
Yeah, a red shirt.
The red shirt, yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what happens next. And yeah, I could see it going both ways. I would love to see Maki just one punch this guy, but I think it'd be a lot more interesting if we, kind of saw her bleed a little bit. It would help with the suspense, especially for later on, because if we just make her this unstoppable monster consistently, it would feel... Well, hey, with a couple things that would accomplish is if we get to a big bad and we think that she's just unstoppable, and then he hits her once and she's like, "Oh shit,"
Yeah.
then it would make that bad guy seem even more scary. So yeah, I could see it going either way. But yeah, we'll definitely be talking about it. Next week we're on break for Jujutsu Kaisen. We have so many mangas coming out now that we want to talk about. I've actually been considering we might start alternating with some weekly series where one week we'll talk about My Hero Academia 2 chapters, and then the next week we'll talk about Jujutsu Kaisen 2 chapters, and we might start alternating just because we have Chainsaw Man, we're going to have Hunter x Hunter, One Piece, all of it is having a lot of big stuff happen lately. So
Do we know when Hunter x Hunter's starting up again? Like, is there actually like a...
we don't have a date.
Think
no.
we know. The mangaka has said, like, I got one more chapter left before we start to republish, I think.
Yeah, and he's gotten 10. He's going to be putting out at least 10.
So there's a question of whether that will, drop all at once, or if they'll spread it out. I think they're probably going to spread it out. Like, he's probably done this to give himself a bit of a buffer. Or it could be like Berserk, where, like, they're dropping a bunch now, and then they'll wait, and then drop more in 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, don't put that evil out there.
Gotta surpass the previous hiatus.
Well, Hunter x Hunter is the king of hiatus, so...
yeah, hiatus x hiatus.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, definitely check out other episodes of Mega Manga Monday. We've talked about series like Berserk, One Piece, My Hero Academia, JJK, obviously. Also follow us on Twitter at Manga Mondays for updates. But yeah, excited to talk about 192 when that comes out. As I said, we're on break next week for it, so we'll be needing to wait a little bit. But yeah, as far as plugs and recommendations go, there's a few plugs for you. But I am Jason Hahn, writer for Screen Rant. Please check out Screen Rant for gaming news and comic news. My buddies here write some very insightful, interesting articles about the series they love, and honestly, it adds a lot of extra fun to the series whenever you start reading their articles and then read the new thing and kind of see what they nailed and what it doesn't relate at all anymore. So
what Steven got wrong.
Yes, yes. But yeah, also I, Jason Hahn, have a YouTube channel called Honzy and Friends. Do Let's Plays and stream video games. Try to be funny on it. So check that out. I like to stream every Wednesday and Sunday. But yeah, that'll do it for my plugs and recommendations. Ben, how about you, man?
Yeah, so check out Screen Rant, as Jason said. I have articles on there. But I also have my own YouTube channel called YGO From Zero, where I explore historical formats of the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. And I recently started exploring the first actual somewhat popular format of the game. So if you're interested in that, be sure to check it out. It's a lot of fun. And in terms of recommendations, I've been amassing recommendations ever since I was last on the podcast. I have so many things to recommend, but I'll start on this episode, and you'll have to watch the other episodes of the podcast to find out my other recommendations. So, maybe that'll hook you in. But Maiden Abyss Season 2 is currently airing right now. And if you have not seen Made in Abyss, it is one of, I think, the best anime to happen in the past 5 years or so. Um,
You
just
always have these
incredible.
hot takes when you recommend stuff. It's like
I don't think that's a hot take. I think Made in Abyss is genuinely great and widely regarded as so.
This is the first I've heard of that series. What's the elevator pitch on it?
Really?
No.
Oh, so basically, it's basically this girl and a robot exploring this giant abyss that's just like this bottomless pit.
that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Right.
it is. They just go on cute adventures.
That's right.
Nothing bad happens at all.
It's just a lovely
and-
jaunt, it sounds like.
Exactly, of course. You know, they meet the best dad in all of anime who makes lunch boxes for his kids. They encounter a lot of fun people, and nothing bad happens at all. So, if you're looking for a fun, relaxing, cute show, definitely check it out. And if you're looking for one of the most messed up shows in recent memory, definitely check it out.
I'm getting conflicting information here.
Well, because what's so great is that like, the drawings are so cute, so you never like. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that.
Yeah.
Yeah, great recommendation, Ben. Yeah, I go with Ben. Yep, listen to Ben.
Yeah. Steven, have you seen the movie as well?
No, like I've actually like been going through the manga, like
oh yeah,
the anime, because like I haven't watched the like I've just been focusing on the manga, but like because like the manga is so weird, like the way it's drawn, it's like almost charcoal. It's weird, but yeah, it's phenomenal. Yeah, I'm glad you. Yeah, phenomenal. Yep.
Yeah, no, I should read the manga because I am, you know, I am a manga guy, but like with Made in Abyss, I started watching the anime, and it's just like the anime is so well done, and like I'm like, oh, this might have to be one of the series that I just stick with the anime and wait, because the wait has been worth it in general for it. So
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, good recommendation. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I've never heard of it, so thanks for recommending that.
Yeah, the first season is on Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay.
And then the movie and the second season are on High Dive. So.
Oh, boy. Okay. And Steven, how about you, man?
I don't know if I want to go after that recommendation because it was so awesome, but I would just because I completely forgot about it. I'm so glad you brought that up. Wow.
Yeah, no. It's maybe we could have maybe if I get caught up with the manga at some point, we could have a discussion on that.
Oh, is it ongoing? The manga?
I believe so.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, okay. I stopped reading a little while ago, but I think it is still going.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Maiden in the Abyss, is that what it is?
Made in Abyss. So.
Oh, Made in Abyss. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
MADE in Abyss.
But yeah, so my recommended, like, I'll just say, I have been really enjoying Undead Unluck. I think Jason, I went onto the channel and started ranting a bit. No, it's just like I keep on making pitches for it, but because it's not popular, like I haven't been able to write about it that much. But I'm hoping I just did a new one for this latest chapter to try and give it, more of like a broader look at shonen. But just because like the creator is very very creative in how he represents how he introduces powers and like the metaphors behind them. Like they're usually really deep. Like they're not just powers for power's sakes. Like there's like a deeper meaning to them. And this latest chapter brought in a new dynamic like that, and it was just really exciting. And it's kind of sad it hasn't gotten an anime adaptation yet after being like, this is chapter 119 now, so it's kind of sad. But yeah, no, great series there. And I'm also enjoying on the Manga Plus app or Shonen Jump Plus. Shonen Jump Plus is the Japanese version, and then Manga Plus is the international. But it's basically like the online only version of Shonen Jump, and that's actually where Chainsaw Man is a Shonen Jump Plus manga, I believe, but also Kaiju #8, Dan to Dan, things like that. So ones that usually comics that are a little more adult oriented or more shoujo or things, or if they don't want, or if the mangaka doesn't want like that really extreme like weekly regimen, that's where these other titles go on. But one on there on Manga Plus, Make the Exorcist Fall in Love. I'm really enjoying that. The latest chapter was really awesome. So that's another good one. Make the Exorcist Fall in Love. Thumbs up.
All right. Well, check out all those recommendations in our descriptions. You should have all those names and the lovely people who are creating those series also. So check that out. But yeah, that'll do it for this episode of Mega Manga Monday. It's been a lot of fun talking JJK with you guys, and yeah, we got some Chainsaw Man to talk about and the return of One Piece later this week. So lots of great manga podcasts to look forward to, and I hope you guys tune in.